This story is from your reading materials, Book 1, Reading Writing Workshop, on page 108. You can get your book out and follow along. It will help you to focus better on the reading. A Modern Cinderella. Once upon a time, the time being the other night, the prince was as joyous as a gamer with a new highest score. He had just danced with an amazing young woman at the royal palace. It was during the taping of his weekly TV show, Dancing with the Prince. He had only agreed to do the show to help his mother, the queen, raise money for charity. But when the prince twirled his lovely dancer in the presence of the audience and judges, he felt as if he were floating on a cloud. However, circumstances changed as soon as the music stopped at midnight. As the applause began, the young woman's cell phone rang, and she rushed away from the palace. All she left behind was a purple sneaker. The prince fell into a dungeon of despair. I must find her again, he cried, and in time for tomorrow night's final show. How should he search? He clutched the purple sneaker in his hand. Seeing the prince's tears, the queen advised, "He who consults the right sources will surely succeed." The prince's mind raced like a galloping horse on his favorite game, Horse Chaser. After much consideration, he made a plan. First, he interviewed everyone who had attended the show, but no one could help. Next, the prince searched the internet. He entered the phrase, "great dancer with purple shoe," but he found no one. Then the prince put up posters of the purple sneaker all over the kingdom's social networks, yet no one recognized the shoe or knew its owner. The prince held the purple sneaker in one hand and his computer compass in the other. "I will continue my quest," he cried, "even if I must personally travel the entire kingdom." With that, the prince powered up his royal electric skateboard and set out. At the first house, a woman came out to greet the prince. He held out the sneaker and announced, "This shoe will tell me if you are my destiny." The excited woman struggled to jam her large foot into the shoe, but the sneaker was much too small. At the next house, another woman eagerly tried on the sneaker. The shoe flopped and fell off. At every home the prince visited, the purple sneaker seemed big as a boat or as small as a seed. Every foot failed to meet his expectations. As the day wore on, the prince grew sadder. His discouraged heart was a cell phone in need of recharging. Finally, there was only one house left to visit. When the prince arrived, three sisters stood in front, offering their feet. They had been following the news feed. The shoe fit none of them. "Does anyone else live here?" a weary prince asked the sisters. From inside the house came a chime. The sisters' eyes became narrow slits. A young woman stepped outside and handed a phone to the oldest sister. The prince quickly held out the sneaker and requested, "Please try this on." She did, and it fit her foot perfectly. "You're my missing dancer," the prince cried. "Will you be my dance partner forever?" The young woman smiled and replied, "Thanks, but not right now. I'll dance tomorrow, but I have a lot of plans. First, I want to travel." The prince begged, "Please say yes. After all, this is a fairy tale where anything can happen." "Sorry, prince," the woman said. "You'll just have to wait." "That's cool," the prince sighed. "But at least reveal your name." "It's Cinderella," the woman replied. She scribbled on a piece of paper, "Here's my number. Let's stay in touch. TTYLP. The prince looked puzzled and was unsure of how to reply. "It means talk to you later, prince," Cinderella explained. "TTYLC, the prince replied as he waved to Cinderella and rode away. And they texted happily ever after.